Good evening, and welcome to the Tweeds County Board of Education meeting. Thank you to our in-person and online communities and stakeholders for joining us this evening. It is my pleasure to call the Tweeds County Board of Education meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, April 26, 2022. The time is a few minutes after 6. May we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. At this time, I entertain a motion to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting, Tuesday, April 26, 2022.
I move that motion.
Motion been properly made by Ms. Blackshear. May I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. King. Any discussion? Again, this motion is to approve tonight's agenda. I know you by saying aye, raising your hand if you approve this motion.
Aye.
Any opposers? No opposers. That motion carries unanimously. At this time, I ask for approval of minutes from our April 12th, 2022 regular BOE session meeting.
I move the motion to approve the minutes for our regular BOE minutes for the regular session. I'll second.
Motion is properly made by Ms. Blackshear, seconded by Ms. Shirley Stokes to accept the minutes of our April 12th BOE regular session. I know you by saying aye, raise your hand if you approve this motion.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposers? No opposed. That motion carries unanimously. At this time, I'll ask Ms. Blackshear to render us an ethics statement.
Thank you. In accordance with regulations set forth by the Georgia Ethics Commission, it is the duty of every board member to avoid both conflict of interest or interest of such conflict. Does any board member have any known conflict of interest? Mr. Chair, we will proceed with our agenda.
Thank you, Madam Blackshear. At this time, I ask for board comments and remarks. I'd like to start tonight by congratulating our District 12 State Delegate, Ms. Teresa Blackshear, on another successful term. Congratulations, Ms. Blackshear, as we appreciate you and the work that you do as a state delegate, also here in District 2 as a Tweed County Board of Education member. So congratulations again.
Thank you. And thank you, Board and District 12.
Thank you. Any other board member comments or remarks? Seeing none, Superintendent's comments and remarks. Good evening, Dr. Bullock.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, Vice Chair, board members, community members that are with us here in the meeting tonight, as well as those with us virtually. I, as well, want to congratulate our board member, Ms. Teresa Blackshear, for being reelected as the Georgia School Boards Association District 12 representative. Just for your edification, District 12 represents the school districts in Baldwin, Bibb, Butts, Crawford, Houston, Jasper, Jones, Lamar, Monroe, Peach, Putnam, Twiggs, and Wilcox County. Wilkinson County. And we are extremely proud of the fact that our very own Ms. Teresa Blackshear, who has served here in District 2 since January of 2009, has been reelected for a second term as the District 12 representative.
Thank you.
Congratulations. I want to also continue to encourage our parents on this week. We are taking the Georgia Milestones Assessment. Our elementary students and our middle school students have begun their state summative assessments. The Georgia Milestones have been designed in order to help give us information to let us know that the students have mastered the required state standards that they have been working on, learning all year. It gives information to teachers, students, as well as parents in that regard. We want you parents to make sure that your students get good night's sleep this week. Definitely make sure they get a good breakfast as well. They're taking their assessments in the morning when they get to school. It typically takes about an hour and a half, may go a little longer at times. Yesterday, the middle school students took the writing, and today, the middle school students took ELA, and our elementary school students took their writing test. Tomorrow, which will be Wednesday, our middle school students will take math, and our elementary school students will take ELA. So make sure you encourage our students to do very well. And I also want to acknowledge that this Friday night, April 29th, is our junior-senior prom at the Twiggs County High School. The prom is a milestone in the lives of many of our young people because it is that formal event that marks the point between being a child and growing up. They get an opportunity to dress in formal attire, and we want to encourage them because our teachers and administrators are working hard on giving them a beautiful event that is going to be elegant for them to socialize. We want them to also enjoy their time, and again, we look forward to them coming in their formal attire and their formal dress. And we want our juniors and seniors to make sure that you enjoy this experience, have fun, but also make sure you represent yourselves as the young men and the young ladies that we know you are, with pride and self-respect. Mr. Board Chair, that concludes my comments for this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Bullard. At this time, we'll enter into our business agenda. Business agenda item A, Summer Learning Opportunity Program. This is an information item being presented by Dr. Griffin Stewart.
Good afternoon, Board Chair Harris,
Proceed.
Vice Chair Rouse, board members, all of our stakeholders in person and virtually. It brings me pleasure to share an information item about our Summer Opportunity Program, quickly approaching. But before I can share this information with you, we are a district with a vision and a mission. Our vision is generating excellence, one team, one goal. Our mission is to inspire, challenge, and prepare all students to compete globally. The Twiggs County School Summer Opportunity Program will serve K through 12 students. The dates and times are as follows: June the 6th through the 9th, June 13th through the 16th, June 20th through the 23rd. That's for Jeffersonville Elementary School and the middle high school. The start time for JES will be 9 a.m. The end time will be 2:15. For the middle high school, the start time will be 9:15. The end time will be 2:30. Teachers and students will not attend the summer opportunity on Fridays. The curriculum focus. At Jeffersonville Elementary School, students will focus on I-ready reading as well as I-ready math, as well as direct instruction will be a part of this process as well. The Twiggs County Middle School, 6th through 8th grade, they will focus on I-ready reading and math. And then our 9th through 12th graders will focus on Edgenuity with credit recovery and repair. We will offer enrichment opportunities for our K through 8 students. And just a couple of examples of those enrichment opportunities will include, but not limited to, art, music, math games, drama, debate team, and STEM activities. What data will be utilized to measure the Summer Opportunity Program success? G-Kids will be used with our kindergarten students. That will be their pre and post. Our 1st and 2nd grade students, as well as 3rd through 5th, their pre-test will be their 3rd I-ready reading and math screener. That's scheduled for the 2nd week in May. So once students take that last screener, we will use the growth monitor throughout the summer to measure student growth. It will be the same process for 6th through 8th. They will take their 3rd screener results, and that screener will be given to our 6th through 8th the 2nd week in May. And our post will be the I-ready growth monitor report. So we'll get a chance to monitor the growth of those students during the summer. Lastly, our high school students will focus on the Edgenuity program. And the progress monitoring will be the course completion, and then course completion for the end, because it's all about helping those students if they need those credits to help them with Edgenuity. How are the students selected? And that's in progress right now. But at JES K through second graders, any students who are facing retention, third through fifth grade, the same students facing retention are our bubble students. So we'll be using our Georgia Milestones results. So we'll address all levels of learners, beginning, developing, proficient, and distinguished learners. The same process will happen for 6th through 8th grade students if they're facing retention, or if they're bubble students, beginning, developing, from proficient and distinguished learners, and that will be pending our Georgia Milestone results. And then our 9th through 12th grade students, any student in danger of being retained, 60 through 69 average, or just credit deficient. Credit recovery will be offered to all students. And any of those seniors will be offered credit repair option. And credit repair is those students who started a class and maybe didn't finish it successfully, so they won't have to start the class all the way over. They will finish what they missed. And so we don't anticipate it, but we did put it in there. The timeline is a work in progress as well. But right now, we're ordering supplies and renewing subscriptions, iReady Edgenuity. We ordered the iReady supplies on yesterday, so we should be good and prepared to receive those materials before summer school, and those subscriptions have been secured as well. Teacher interest survey went out on April 21st, and it'll close on the 29th. And so that gives us an idea of what teachers are interested in teaching and where they want to be, so that will close on the 29th. The goal is teacher notification letters after we know who the teachers are, and that final selection with JES as well as the high school. Then we'll give those teachers notification. During next week as well, we'll be working on the logistics with transportation, our nutrition plans at the school, the master schedule, and classrooms that will be utilized. Student invite letters will start going home on the 9th through the 13th. And then just overall, the planning for the teachers during summer school will be short hours. So we plan to meet 2 times during the week of May, 2 to 4. It just depends on how we finish the work. But some of the things our summer school teachers will be involved in is analyzing multiple student data sources and planning in preparation to address the students they'll serve. Those teachers will help us with the invitation letters to students, as well as call and text parents attending the Summer Opportunity Program. Attendance expectations will be discussed and put in place for students as well as teachers. And then behavior expectations when we think about the bus, the lunchroom, and the academic setting. And then how will we record what we're teaching during the week. The instructional expectations just for students overall. The master schedule has been mentioned before. Ordering teacher supplies, student supplies, and computer distribution. There is flexibility for parents who are requesting that their children attend summer school, so that'll be on a case-by-case basis. And then I've also had an opportunity to speak with our athletic director to make sure some of those athletes in the summer, if they need to go to the Summer Opportunity Program, Coach Perry already has the calendar and this outline that you have, so we can be prepared to have those players or whoever the athletes are come to summer school and then go to practice afterwards. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Dr. Griffith-Stewart.
Thank you.
Business agenda item B, federal programs and ESSER funds update. This is an information item being presented by Ms. Reardon. Good evening, Ms. Reardon.
Good evening, Board Chair Harris, Vice Chair Rouse, board members, Superintendent Dr. Bullard, and our esteemed stakeholders. Tonight I will be speaking on federal programs and ESSER funds, giving you an update. This aligns with our vision, generating excellence, one team, one goal, and our mission to inspire, challenge, and prepare all students to compete globally. First, we have the Title I budget update. This was $481,833. I've presented several times on the categories that these expenditures were divided into. An update to you is MobiMax and Scholastic Pro, that we are reducing our subscriptions to them, meeting a different student base, and the additional funds will be turned into iReady supplemental materials to be used during summer school. In family engagement, we've had multiple opportunities available this year. We're finishing the Resilient Kids 13-week cohort session, and supplemental support materials will be given to these parents. We also have the parent partners communication pieces. And then finally, your summer school is planned to start June the 6th. Title II, $67,983. This is the induction program for our new and inexperienced teachers. This was the program that Ms. Timms spoke on at our last board meeting. Our mentor program is covered through Title II, professional learning, and recruitment and retention initiatives. Title V-B update. We consolidated Title IV and Title V into Title V, which gave us a total of $55,100. This funding source supports PBIS, behavior and data tracking software, reward and incentive software, professional learning such as the Model Schools Conference, and also summer school, which will be starting in June. Tonight, the biggest focus is going to be on our ESSER and CARES money. We're required to give an update. We had for CARES, what you know as CARES 1, $400,376. These funds have been spent. This funding source started in fiscal year 20. In fiscal year 20, we spent $39,702. In fiscal year 21, we spent $238,688. And in fiscal year 22, which is this school year, we spent the remaining $121,985. You see the categories that we spent this on, and where it says hotspots, that's also other technology, cameras, microphones, computers. Most of that was spent back in end of 2020, beginning of 2021. So that funding source has been expended. ESSER 2, that's $1,636,623. We are continuing the expenditures in these categories that have been reviewed several times with the board and with the public and stakeholders. One of the initiatives that you see on here with summer school, this is summer school for 2022 and 2023. So that's this year's summer school and then next year's summer school. Our focus in ESSER 2 is in Twiggs County is on student achievement and supporting the learner and the teacher. In ESSER ARP 3 funds, this is $3,678,270. Again, we are continuing the expenditures in these categories. Again, our focus is on the learner and the teacher, ensuring the best possible environment for learning with the tools and the support and the professional learning to ensure that the teachers are equipped to meet the needs of our students. We are required to have a minimum of 20% of this funding source dedicated to addressing learning loss. After a couple of board meetings ago, we talked about how we shifted these funds, and we in Twiggs County have a minimum of 35% of this funding source dedicated to addressing learning loss directly, and indirectly we have another 51% of this funding source dedicated to supporting teaching and learning, which also addresses learning loss. The remaining 14% of this funding source is going towards PPE, cleaning, and maintenance. The final slide that you have is the transparency information, where it's updated regularly. And in case you didn't know that it was updated regularly, again, here is how you access this information on our website. So you'll go to the Twiggs County website, to departments, then to federal programs and teaching and learning, and you will find the ARP plan, the revised or amended plan, and the ESSER presentations that we've given up to date, as well as updates to our COVID plan as we go into the final phase of the update to our COVID safety plan, which will go into effect May the 2nd. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Ms. Reardon.
Thank you.
Business agenda item C, mechanical contractor, so RFP. Some information item being presented by Mr. Tyrone Bacon.
Good evening, Board Chair Harris,
Proceed. Good evening.
Vice Chair Rouse, board members, and our audience both here and at home. This evening, I'd like to talk to everyone about our request for proposal for HVAC services. But first, I'd like to remind everybody who we are. We're a district with vision, creating excellence, one team, one goal, and our mission is to inspire, challenge, and prepare all students to compete globally. What is the mission, the goal of our RFP? Is to retain an HVAC firm with qualification and staffing resources necessary to manage the district's HVAC system and corresponding direct digital controls. The selected firm must have documented experience of executing maintenance contracts for government entities or large public firms. The chosen firm must have a record of excellence. Why are we doing this? We're doing this for several reasons. One, we want to establish long-term viable partnerships that allow for more predictable outcomes. We want to determine costs up front that allows the district to anticipate and better plan expenditures and create reliable budget projections. We'll allow the district to outline its expectations for its vendors as well as establish acceptable levels of service. Right now, because we do not have an established relationship, as we work with people, Hamlin Services, Metro Air for a while, we are not a preferred customer, so they handle their preferred customers first. And we have a zero-fail mission as a school district where we cannot be down at all, and sometimes they have to choose between their preferred customers and us. Luckily, we've been fortunate, and also we have a higher pricing schedule because we are not a preferred customer. So we're talking about anywhere from getting in a relationship, 25 to 30% decrease in our regular, what we call hourly rate. Things like trip charges will no longer be charged to the district, as those charges, as we will become a preferred customer. And this is standard throughout the industry, so it definitely cost advantages. In your board packet, you should have received this document. It's a request for the actual detailed request for proposal. It's something like 13 or 14 pages that outlines everything that we want in our from a HVAC. It talks about the length of time, the length of service, what are we looking for, what kind of services and maintenance, how often. It gives those very specific details. But what I would like to go over with the board and tonight is our criteria. What are we looking for in a vendor relationship or with a vendor? First, 40%, we'll be on a 100-point scale. 40% will be their qualifications. Yes, there are two types of HVAC contractors, residential and commercial. We are looking for a commercial because all of our equipment is 15 tons and above. We're looking for a firm that hires and retains service people, tradesmen with unrestricted licenses, and a lot of residential folks don't have that. Our next is 40%, of course, is pricing. We want a competitive price. We want to be able to predict our price, and we want to be able to control what is happening because we're doing the maintenance as it's called for by the manufacturer. Us being off schedule sometimes causes problems and increased costs. So we think we'd be able to manage our costs better. So that would be 40%. Communications, being able to communicate with us effectively in your pricing. When we have certain grants that we're using, like we're using CARES grant, like you just heard. So our contractors have to be able to have a team on staff to be able to write the proposals and estimates and their evaluations in such a way. So they must be able to have that as well. Warranty. We're looking to warranty the work that we have here. We're looking for if you fix something today, we call you tomorrow, I don't want to see another invoice for the 3 trips that you made out here to do the same thing. I want, if we buy a part today, how long does that part last? I know we have a standard 5-year, 1 to 5 year, 1 year on labor, 5 year on parts, on certain parts. So we want to make sure that these warranties are kept up, and sometimes these warranties are based on the service that you get and based on who's doing the service. And so we keep all of those things in place as far as that, and they have to have record keeping to make sure that all of our parts are warranted by the manufacturer. And also 20%, their ability of the proposal to conduct and manage our project, the maintenance and preventive maintenance of the district, and which is pretty huge. We've made substantial investments, almost $2.2 million over the last 7 years in our HVAC systems, and it's one of the biggest capital expenditures that we will have here as a district. So we want to make sure that the people that we deal with understand that this is a huge investment for this district and an investment with a 30-year lifespan, and they must be able to help us maintain that. What is our timeline? Tonight I'm presenting 426. I'm presenting this to the board for information. 5-1, we'll put this on we'll advertise on the website. We will send a letter of interest to local Middle Georgia contractors. 6-2, we'll have a site visit so they can actually look at the equipment that they will be servicing. I will be there to answer any questions, along with possibly our mechanical engineer if necessary. 6-15, we'll permit, they will have to have their proposals submitted to the district office. 5-17, we will use the rubric and grade those out. And then we will bring those, our findings to the board for board selection and approval. Are there any questions concerning the HVAC RFP?
Thank you, Mr. Bacon. Business agenda item D, weight room renovation estimates and timeline. This is information item being presented again by Mr. Bacon.
Once again, thank you, Board Chair Harris, board members, for allowing me to speak this evening. First of all, once again, I'd like to tell you who we are. We're a district creating excellence, one team, one goal, with a mission to inspire, challenge, and prepare all of our students to compete globally. And tonight, we want them to be able to compete on the football field. So hopefully, we're starting with a generous gift. The Denard Difference Foundation has pledged over $30,000 toward the purchase of weight and conditioning equipment for the Twiggs County High School athletic department. So our current weight room, and I will commend the coaches and the staff, they have tried their very best to maintain, 25, 30-year-old equipment. We were going to use it again this year, and they've done a great job with that. But this is our current weight room. You will see that we do need this is much needed. So our new weight room will be a Dynabody weight room, and a Dynabody is a company that has been recommended by Mr. Denard himself. He recommended the company as one that he is familiar with and one that he would like to see our students have access to. Dynabody is known for designing weight rooms for schools and universities throughout this country. Local schools that have the Dynabody equipment, Dublin High School, Lawrence County, Blakely County High School. Of course, there are quite a few in the Atlanta area, but those are some immediately around us. And as you saw, Mr. Bassett, could you go back? That the weight room will be branded with our colors, our logos. The superintendent, if you'd like to add anything, he's been intimately involved with ensuring with the weight company. So, Dr. Bullard?
Thank you, Mr. Bacon. Upon the beginning of this project, Mr. Denard presented us with a proposal to improve our athletic facility for the athletic department. And it was remarkable that his suggestion was Dynabody, because it was the actual company that was referred to us by athletic directors around Middle Georgia as well. So that alignment was perfect. He had an opportunity to come to the school to meet with the principal, the athletic director, myself, also Mr. Austin and Mr. Bacon. We toured the weight room facility, the 600 building. Again, he recognized the equipment that was there was the same equipment that was there when he was a freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior, and said he wanted to do something to improve the opportunities for our young athletes and our athletic department. So we want to thank Mr. Denard for offering this great gift.
In order to make the weight room more usable and inviting, we would like to make the following renovations. Air conditioning system. Currently, there's no heat or air in the weight room, and there's only an exhaust fan. This is a continuing process that we've been upgrading, as the board well knows, and we've presented. We've been upgrading the air in the 600 building as part of CARES over the last year. You might say, why do they need, and I hear this a lot, why do they need air in the weight room? It's not just about air conditioning, temperature. It's also about fresh air exchange. You prevent things like staph infection that goes on, and it's a really confined area. So it's about air exchange and fresh air exchanges, and that is required now. So when we do one thing, we have to follow the law and the rules and regulations and do the other. So, and it can get extremely hot in there with just an exhaust fan and no fresh air. So, but this is also part of our continuing upgrade of the air system in the 600 building. Upgrade the lighting. This would improve the overall appearance as well as bring in additional light. New paint. To go along with our branding and to make and refresh the whole area. We will replace the floor mats for the mats, for the weights, and the other ones have been there for quite some time. We'll clean the vinyl tile. The tile that we have in there is not paper backed, it's vinyl, so we can clean and reuse that. And we'll install an additional 220 volt circuit so that we can, we have the powers, we just have to run the lines. So it's not like we have to get a new service entrance to do that, so that we can be able to install the air conditioning unit. Currently, as you see here, this is the weight room renovation itemized cost. The air conditioning system would be $27,345. New floor mats, $2,600. Prime and paint the weight room, $6,500. Lights and installation, $5,500. Electrical upgrade, $4,500, for a total of $46,445. Timeline. There are several factors that would influence the completion of the weight room project. It will take 6 to 8 weeks from the date that the weight equipment is ordered for it to be on site. The availability of HVAC equipment. There's a shortage and things are hard to get. It is the hope of the team that the weight room will be ready in the early part of July for students to use. Questions?
Why didn't we why was it that we did not have air conditioning in that weight room to begin with, since it is a very
Yes, ma'am.
hard?
Well, as you know, we've been upgrading, well, there never was air there, but we've been upgrading the 600 building over the last year. It was our intention to go in there as we're going down the hall. We hit the classroom, ROTC, the classroom, ISS. We hit the student the classroom areas first. We're speeding up our timeline so that this can coincide, but this was scheduled for the summer. So it's much needed. It's much needed. Yes, ma'am.
No, yes. I didn't even notice that 10 years ago when I substituted in the weight room, and some coach said, Miss Stokes, go to the library. I'll take this class. I could have hugged his neck.
I would just like to add that I think that this will motivate our team. One team, one goal, I think will motivate our students. You know, they'll see what's going on in the weight room and be ready to get on the football field and win some games.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Bacon.
Thank you.
Business agenda item E. This is salary schedules, schedules A, C, T, M, E, and minimum wage increasing to $10. This is an action item being presented by Assistant Superintendent and CFO, Mr. James Austin. Good evening.
Good evening, Board Chair,
Let's see.
Vice Chair, Board members, Superintendent Dr. Bullard, constituents in person and virtually. This is our third salary schedule update. We have followed our budget calendar to ensure that we provide information on our salary studies, our current and prior processes to get to this point. And I am sure it aligns with our vision of generate excellence, one team, one goal, and our mission to inspire, challenge, and prepare all students to compete globally. The recommendation in our prior meeting was increases up to 5% on our schedules. Also on our administrative schedule, 4.5% plus a step raise. And we are very excited about this work. We see other districts around us are doing similar things. And this Schedule T, as will be known for our teachers, reflects a base pay, meaning a first-year teacher with a bachelor's degree of being $42,000. We have seen this to be very competitive in our market based upon our studies, and we are very proud to show improvement considering what the state has done with $2,000 and our 5% on top. As we look at our local supplements for the same schedule, Schedule T, this is to support those certificated individuals as it relates to their certificate level and years. So this provides them opportunity to progress each year on their salary step as well. So this is an innovative and progressive model we're taking to attract new teachers and to retain our existing mid-year and senior level teachers. Schedule A is our administration or administrative schedule, consisting of the same positions that we had prior year. Each schedule has been modified and ensured that we are following market data as we presented on our last board meeting or so. And we are placing grades. The only thing that's different, A1 through A12, and as the job description has up there for salary information, it will align to the grade. So this just helps us organize our job description per a salary grade. Administration supplements, as we look at athletic director through our pre-K director. These are the administrative supplement that supports those school-based positions. As well, we have considered the JRTC from a non-commission and commission standpoint. We did have some data to support those supplements, so we are excited to provide that opportunity for our JRTC personnel as well. Schedule C is relating to classified staff. There's about 2 to 4 slides that will consist of our classified staff. So we look from our school nurse up to our media and digital specialists. It accounts for the number of days they work. It also accounts for the data that comes from the salary study information, the step, and also years of experience. Also, it considers paraprofessionals through our school receptionists. One thing that we did look more closely at for as our data is the middle high school secretary/bookkeeper relating to an elementary school secretary bookkeeper. We have noticed that the amount of accounts that the middle high school has versus elementary as far as the club organizations is a little more work. And so the data did align to that, so those adjustments were made, and the school receptionist is identified separately as it was in the past, all one as a secretary. But we have made a notation to have data to support that as well. As we look at our lunchroom position from our nutrition bookkeeper to lunchroom staff, maintenance staff, custodians, as well as a position that supports our bus shop, those positions are identified here. Furthermore, for our bus drivers and our bus monitors/aides, we ensure that we look very close with our aides, because one of the things that's been coming up a lot is placing bus monitors on the bus, especially with some of our longer routes or with our PEC students as they travel to Macon, to Elam, and things of that nature. So we want to be competitive to ensure we have that opportunity to have students on those monitors on those buses. Schedule M, miscellaneous. We've talked about our academic leadership and our bus routes as it relates to those items. In the past, we did have incentives for people who received additional degrees, certifications. So as presented as last time, this information will allow us to continue to retain and grow our current staff as they pursue additional educational opportunities. One thing to note at the very bottom is the additional routes in the district. Sometimes a bus driver will have to go pick up a kid midday, have to do an additional route, maybe 30 to 45 minutes. So we wanted a way to have this on the scale to say if you do anything of that nature, it'll be $25 for that particular route. As we move forward to our teacher substitute pay, we have been very competitive in our teacher sub pay for non-certified long-term and also our certified teacher subs. And we are very excited to maintain that because we do pay a little more than the districts around us according to the data sheet. As we look at for our bus drivers, we are considering going from $58 to $62 for a full route, and this is a day rate, and $36 for a half a route. Bus driver monitor aides, if they're not a full-time employee, they will look at being paid at $10 an hour, and our custodian maintenance and school nutrition sub pay will be $10 an hour. So this goes back to our minimum wage increasing to $10 an hour as well. Schedule E is extracurricular activities. As we look at these items, we are considering as is. There were no other recommendations made from the athletic department to adjust any supplement amounts or positions. So the supplements for the high school sports will consist of a football program, cross country, basketball program, baseball, fast pitch, soccer, and track program. We do understand that we are actively recruiting in all areas of our sports. If a sport does not meet, that supplement is not assigned to a person. If there is an opportunity for that money to go to a different area, that will require a board approval as that adjustment and recommendation made from the athletic department. Also a literacy team, a literary team, cheerleading program, and also field maintenance and basketball clock and bookkeeper. For middle school sports, football program, basketball, softball, baseball program. And as we look at our track program as well as soccer. So criteria to support our endorsements, we want to ensure that there are infill endorsements for our certified employees, that they are establishing, other criteria be established by the school administration, senior cabinet, or HR. Endorsements will be paid as a one-time supplement after completion of the endorsement, such as gifted, reading, coaching, and et cetera. This will be paid from, primarily from our federal program funds. And if there are any retention measures, meaning once they receive it, you know, we always have the question, will they leave once we provide them opportunities? If those retention measures are in place, then that will come from teaching and learning HR as what they will look like. Industry certification and degrees. Again, the certification degree is based on the job description of the assigned duties. It must be in field or closely related to that job. It must be from an industry accepted organization. And the district will not pay for certification examination fees. If requested, there may be a retention of, for example, up to 2 years to ensure that we do not, again, pay for things for individuals and they leave the district without providing us with a return on the investment. Last two as relates to lead bus driver and lead custodian. So lead bus driver, we have criteria outlined to support that position as well. They must have a clean MVR safety record, CDL holder, no disciplinary infractions, good attendance, must be a certified trainer, minimum of 5 years as a driver in Twiggs County Public Schools. We'll go through a competitive interview process and recommendation will be made from transportation and approval by myself as assistant superintendent. Similar to the lead custodian, minimum 5 years, no disciplinary infractions, certification in field, able to operate all machinery proficiently, competitive interview process, and again, recommendation will come from the custodial department and approval by assistant superintendent. Are there any questions, concerns about the schedules that were presented before you tonight?
Seeing no questions from Mr. Austin, this is an action item. We've heard the presentation by Mr. Austin. Dr. Bullard, what is your recommendation?
Mr. Chair, I recommend that the board approve the salary schedules A, C, T, M, E, and minimum wage increasing to $10 as presented by Mr. Austin.
Any discussions for Mr. Austin or Dr. Bullard? Seeing none, at this time, may I have a motion to accept the superintendent's recommendation?
So moved.
Motion's been properly made by Ms. Blackshear. May I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. King. Any discussion? No discussion. I know anybody saying aye. Raise your hand if you approve this motion. Aye. Any opposers? No opposers. That motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Austin.
Thank you.
At this time, business agenda item F, board policy professional personnel termination, GBN, second reading. This is an action item being presented by Ms. Cannon. Good evening, Ms. Cannon.
Good evening, Chairman Harris, Vice Chair Rouse, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Bullard, and to members of the public. You have before you tonight an action item, and that is board policy GBN, professional personnel termination. Dr. Bullard has shared with me that there's been no comments from the public since this was last presented for your review. As we all know, the Twiggs County School District is a strategic waiver system, has waived the Fair Dismissal Act. This policy will now provide the due process rights to our certified staff members if there should be a situation where we need to terminate, suspend, or non-renew a tenured employee. I'm just going to go through the policy very quickly, but if you have any questions along the way, please feel free to stop me. On page 1, toward the bottom, you'll see section 1 definitions. This is very similar to what is in the Fair Dismissal Act. Same is true for on page 3 under section 2. You'll see the grounds for termination or long-term suspension. These grounds for termination will also apply to our non-renewal situations for our tenured administrators. Again, that's very similar to the Fair Dismissal Act. Where we start to see a little deviation from the Fair Dismissal Act is at the bottom of page 3 under section 2B. There's a notice requirement where the superintendent will have to provide a letter to our certified employee that outlines the reason for the termination, long-term suspension, or non-renewal. And this is just going to be a letter that states the reasons why and a brief summary of the facts and any information that goes along with that, you know, the documents that would support these reasons, that kind of thing. This is a little less burdensome than having to initially file a charge letter like you would under the Fair Dismissal Act. So it allows for a little more informal process and perhaps dialogue between the superintendent and the staff member before we would move forward with a more formal process under this new policy. Our employees, our certified employees or contract employees can request for an appeal before the board, just like they can under the Fair Dismissal Act. We are going to require, when the employee makes that request, to include some information. And that's an outline on page 4 toward the bottom. Under section C, you'll see a list of things that the employee will need to share with the school district. That's their name and contact information, what policy or regulation the contract employee believes was, violated or what wrong. This is our notice that we'll give back, but it's more of an exchange of information before the hearing with the idea of, once we know what's going on and what the issues are, we'll issue the notice, and then the hearing that will occur before the board on page 5. We're trying to make it more concise, where we'll have limited to 1 hour and 30 minutes for each side. So again, a more streamlined process where we're exchanging information on the front end with the employee, with a thought of having a more concise hearing at the end. So, are there any questions from the board as it relates to this action item in this policy?
Seeing no questions for Ms. Cannon, we've heard the new board policy, professional personnel termination, GBN, in its second reading. Dr. Bullock, what is your recommendation?
Mr. Chair and board members, I recommend that you approve board policy GBN, professional personnel termination, as reviewed by Ms. Cannon Hill.
Thank you, board. We've heard this from Collier McKenzie. We've heard it from Ms. Cannon. We've heard the superintendent's recommendation. May I have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Motion was properly made by Ms. King to accept the board policy professional personnel termination, GBN. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Ms. Stokes. Any discussion? No discussion. I'll do by saying aye, raising your hand if you approve this motion. Aye. Any objectives? That motion carries 3-2. Thank you, Ms. Cannon. Business agenda item G, district request. This is an action item being presented by Superintendent Dr. Matt Bullard.
Thank you very much, Mr. Board Chair. Mr. Board Chair, prior to me reviewing our district request, our district has recently lost 2 beloved long-term employees, and we would like to share a memorial of these beloved employees with our board and our community at this time.
Chairman Harris, Vice Chair Rouse, board members, Dr. Bullard, it is my honor, solemn honor, to recognize 2 of our former employees in their passing. We called him Pops. He was a man small in stature, but lofty in character, commitment, and compassion. He was arguably the hardest working custodian to serve the children of Twiggs County Public Schools, and specifically Jeffersonville Elementary School. Mr. Thule Jeff Hatcher was not defined by the patches or name badges he wore over his left chest. He was not just Thule, the retired heavy equipment operator for U.S. Aggregates, or Thule, the former chief of Dry Branch Station of Twiggs County Fire Department, or Thule, the custodian of Twiggs County Public Schools, Jeffersonville Elementary School. Every moniker on his shirt was an outward identification of the inward love and servanthood he demonstrated toward others. His lifelong purpose was to provide care, not just for his family, but he tended and embraced all people, his community, and his extended Twiggs County family. You never saw Pop sitting down, slowing down, standing around, his head hung down, or stepping down from a challenge. There was simply nothing he would not do for the district and the children who called him Pops, many of whom saw him as a bonus grandfather. Retirement was never a consideration for Pops as long as Twiggs County Public Schools had a need. However, the biggest need the district had was for Pops to focus on his health. So with persistent persuasion, he retired from Twiggs County Public Schools in 2020. But he remains an eternal flame, lighting the way for all to follow his selfless example. On behalf of Dr. Mac Bullard, Superintendent, Mr. Jaquez J. Harris, Board Chairman, Twiggs County Board of Education, Twiggs County Public Schools at large, we extend our sincere condolence to the Hatcher family. Thank you for sharing your husband, father, grandfather, and with the entire district and myriad generations who will never forget the indelible mark he placed upon the hearts of each of us who affectionately called him Pops. Can anything good come out of Twiggs County? Mrs. Murdell Sands did. In fact, she represented the very best of Twiggs County. She was born in Dry Branch, Georgia, graduated in 1959 from Jeffersonville High School, started and completed her career at Jeffersonville Elementary School as the administrative assistant, serving staff and students for more than 35 years. Her laughter was infectious, her light illuminating, and her kind demeanor could brighten any and every day. Whatever her hands found to do, she did with a gracious smile and a gentle touch. She was a Girl Scouts leader, a mentor, a founding member of the Eula T. Hand Scholarship Foundation, a seamstress, a tailor, and her candy apples were always the highlight of the Twiggs County Public Schools May Day Festival. There is one word that is synonymous with Murdell Sands: sweet. She was far sweeter than her caramel candy apples. Her loving kindness positioned her as an exemplar of servant leadership, never thinking it robbery to put others first. Her contributions to Twiggs County Public Schools will never be forgotten. She will live in our hearts as an eternal flame, lighting the way for all to follow her selfless example. On behalf of Dr. Mac Bullard, Superintendent, Mr. Jaquez J. Harris, Board Chairman, Twiggs County Board of Education, and the Twiggs County Public Schools at large, we extend our sincere condolence to the Wright and Sands family. Thank you for sharing your beloved mother, wife, grandmother, and friend with the entire district and myriad generations who will follow and never forget her indelible mark placed upon the hearts of each of us who loved Mrs. Murdell Sands. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Timms. Board members and community, we want to thank the families of these two champions of our school district and of our community. We are humbled by their example and by their service. I hope one day that my legacy can be the same. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to memorialize them. Mr. Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, we do have field trip request, facility request, and fundraiser request that we'd like to present for your approval on tonight. Our first, we'll begin with field trip request, is from our Program for Exceptional Children. Ms. Williams and her colleagues are interested in taking the children from the middle high school and our exceptional children from the middle high school to the Lowe's Home Improvement Store in Macon, Georgia. And this is for the purpose of hosting a career exploration trip to explore different job options that are available there at that site for those students. Our next field trip request is from Ms. Linder, our family and consumer science teacher, and Ms. Eason, our graduation specialist. They are asking to take students to Valdosta State University from Twiggs County High School on Monday, May the 2nd. It'll be a field trip sponsored by the FCCLA, and they'll travel to Valdosta State in order to see the integral parts of career and technology and education courses there at the university and opportunities for leadership and service projects and to compete as well. Our third field trip request is from Sergeant Lockhart and Colonel Terry. They're asking your approval to take the Twiggs County High School JROTC on Saturday, May the 14th, to Howard High School. There'll be a JROTC sports competition on that Saturday. The trip will be from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., and they ask your permission to take our JROTC program to compete against other JROTC programs at Howard High School in Macon, Georgia. Also, Colonel Terry and Sergeant Lockhart would like to take our JROTC program on Monday, June the 13th through Saturday, June the 18th to the Georgia Military College. And this is for the purpose of the JROTC Summer Cadet Leadership Program. They'll go to Georgia Military College in Middlesville, Georgia on Monday. They'll stay overnight in the dormitories there through Saturday. And I understand they have very rigorous activities that they are up at 5 a.m. And Colonel Terry told me that they get back to bed probably around 9 p.m. and they do it all over again the next day. Our final field trip request that we have is from our JES. Our 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade teachers are asking to take the students to the Georgia Aquarium on May the 4th. And this aligns with their standards to obtain, evaluate, and communicate information on the flow of energy within an ecosystem. In reference to the facility request, we do have one facility request that we're seeking your approval, and that is from Ms. Leah Toney from the Twiggs County Family Connection. They're asking to utilize the Jeffersonville Elementary School gymnasium on Friday, June the 17th. I know your sheet may say the 16th. That's a Thursday. We'll be in summer school on that day. So they've changed the date to Friday, June the 17th, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. They're going to sponsor a health fair. I don't know if you recall the health fair on last year. It was very well attended by vendors as well as community members, and they'd like to repeat that event this coming June. And they ask your approval to utilize the JES gymnasium for that purpose. And lastly, Mr. Harris, principal of Twiggs County Middle High School, is requesting your approval of a Coca-Cola fundraiser for the purpose of raising funds school-wide for their general fund account, and they'd like to do that Coca-Cola fundraiser on Wednesday, April the 27th, and they are in partnership with the Coca-Cola Foundation in Atlanta, and they are planned a fundraiser and seek your approval of that fundraising event. That concludes our district request, Mr. Chair and board members, and we request your approval.
Thank you, Dr. Bullard. Board members, with your permission, may I accept the district request of field trips, facility and property requests, and fundraisers at once?
Yes.
Thank you. Board members, we've heard the presentation, and I'm assuming, or I do know that it is the recommendation of our superintendent to accept the field trips, facility requests, and fundraisers as presented before you tonight. May I have a motion to accept and approve the fundraisers, facility requests, and field trips presented by our superintendent?
So moved.
Motion's been properly made by Ms. King. May I have a second?
With the correction of the date on 6/17/22. I second.
Motion's been properly made by Ms. King and seconded by Ms. Blackshear. Any discussion? No discussion. I know you by saying aye. Raise your hand. We approve this motion. Aye. Any opposes? That motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Dr. Bullard.
Thank you.
At this time, I entertain a motion to enter into executive session for personnel matters.
I'll make that motion.
Motion's been properly made by Ms. Stokes. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. King. Any discussion? No discussion. I know you by saying aye. Raise your hand. We approve this motion to enter into executive session. Aye. Any opposers? No opposed. That motion carries unanimously. We're now in executive session. Thank you. motion to exit executive session and into public session?
So moved.
Motion been properly made by Ms. Blackshear. May I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Vice Chair Rouse. Any discussion? No discussion. I know you by saying aye or raising your hand if you approve the motion to exit executive session. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposers? No opposed. That motion carries unanimously. We're now back in public session. Dr. Bullard, Board, thank you for a great executive session. We have entertained the superintendent's recommendations for transfers, new hires, and accepting of resignations and rescindments and renewals. At this time, I want to ask the board if it is appropriate and if I will be allowed to carry transfers of appointments, new hires, and resignations, rescindments, and renewals simultaneously.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Unanimously, we decided to accept the superintendent's recommendations for transfer of appointments, new hires, resignations, and rescindments all at once. At this time, I'll ask for a motion to accept the superintendent's recommendations from our executive summary tonight.
I move the motion to accept the transfer, new hires, and the resignation, all three.
Second.
Motion been properly made by Ms. Blackshear, seconded by Vice Chair Rouse. Any discussion? No discussion. I know you by saying aye, raising your hand. Do you approve the motion to accept the superintendent's recommendations for personnel?
Aye.
Aye. No opposes. That motion carries unanimously. Dr. Bullock, have we exhausted our communications and conversations for tonight's board meeting?
Yes, sir. We've exhausted our agenda. Thank you, board members.
Thank you, Dr. Bullock. Thank you, board. May I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Motion's been properly made by Ms. Baxter. May I have a second?
By Rhonda.
I'm sorry, Ms. King. Who was the second? By Ms. Stokes. Any discussion? No discussion. I know you by saying aye, raising your hand. Will you approve the motion for adjournment? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposes? No opposes. That motion carries unanimously. Good night, Twigs.